Welcome to the Directors UK podcast. We're the professional association for UK film and TV directors. No matter the format, no matter the genre, our featured directors share their approach to the craft. We hope you enjoy.
I'm Andy Harrow, I'm CEO at Directors UK, and we're delighted to be screening The Voice of Hind Rajab with the director, Kaouther Ben Hania, who's going to be in conversation with Soudade Kaadan.
I guess everyone is emotional after this film and kind of devastating. So I want to ask a question about you. How was it difficult for you to make this film and listen to her voice? I know as a director, we watched the film 100 times. And I know as a Syrian, a lot of my friends, when watching those archives, they get PTSD. How did you help yourself to make this film, to continue telling it? And how you also protected your team and cast to tell the story while hearing her voice?
Thank you for coming, for all of you making the step, coming to watch and to listen. This is very important to make the voice of Hind Rajab echo and resonate beyond border and beyond culture. Everything started with the voice of Hind Rajab, actually. I was doing the Oscar campaign of my previous movie, For Daughters, glued to the news at the same time, following what was happening in Gaza and asking myself a question about what does it mean to be a filmmaker, a storyteller, when reality, when the unthinkable is happening and real. And I was about to start the prep of another movie I've been writing, and it was financed, and I heard her voice on social media. It was a small extract, and when you hear it, at least for me, you can't unhear it. You can't go on with your daily life, and it haunted me, and I had this strong feeling of helplessness, sadness, anger, you name it. And I asked myself this question: what can I do? Because you have this child, she's pleading for her life, and so I'm a filmmaker. Cinema is a great tool, even if I'm disappointed, like have some disillusion about cinema and the way the market it is. I think there are a lot of directors, they told me in this room, we all can be like this, angry. But I thought I listened to her voice on social media, which is the worst place to remember. It's a place for amnesia, And I thought that it's important to hear her voice, to take the time to sit, to bear witness, and to remember. And the desire of the movie started like this. And actually, you were asking me about my emotion, how I handled all this journey. Every time I feel down, or I remember this little girl in this car surrounded by the dead bodies of her family, surrounded by tank. And I remember her voice, come and get me. She was so strong, for a 6-year-old. She wasn't even 6, she was younger than 6. So my emotion, I'm a privileged person, like I'm a filmmaker. It's not my life. So this has kept me going on. And actually, after hearing this small part of the recording, I reached out to the Red Crescent, Palestinian Red Crescent Society, so they can share with me all the recording, because they recorded all the conversation. And I was lucky enough. They said yes, and when they sent me the recording, I started hearing it, listening to it, and it was very difficult. I couldn't do it. Like, it was about 70 minutes, but it took me several days, to go through it. And then when I started working, I tried to trick myself. Like, I did the transcript of all the dialogue, which are in Arabic, in French, like to function to in another language, to make a little distance. But again, I had this conversation with my actors, which are amazing actors. Cast them, please. They speak perfect English, the four of them. Um, we had this discussion about the weight, the emotional weight, and all of them are Palestinian, from the diaspora. And we always thought that the fact that we are around the memory of this child and telling this story is something meaningful. So this kept us going on and on and on.
Also those, I know that you were already working on a project which had financing, 10 years you were doing it. And then when you heard her voice, you left everything to make it. How important it is for urgent project like this to happen, to have your close collaboration. I know you work with your close collaborator in all the movies, like Nadim, who's here, your producer, partner producer, Amin, the composer, and your editor, Kutaiba. And there's our new on the team. How important is our close collaborator and the new one to make this film in 12 months?
Yeah, when I started with Najim. He's my longtime producer. And then we were lucky enough. I mean, there was something about this project, great energy around it, as if everybody wanted us to tell this story. There was also some reticent, I don't know how to say this in English, like, don't do it now, it's too early. People are killed in Gaza every day. It's too, and for us, it was very important to do it right now, because waiting for what? Like, as if there will be a trial in 1 year and everything will be sorted out and there will be accountability. And no, we don't live in this world, So we did also this movie, like, because I'll tell you why. I couldn't do this movie without the approval of Hind mother. And when I called her to tell her, I'll do a movie, if you don't want me to, I'll not do it, she told me, my daughter is not the only child killed, and I want justice for my daughter. So if this movie can help in a way, please do it, So yeah, all this is to say there was a great energy. So we were joined by Odessa, she's not here, our American producer, and Jim Wilson here, our British producer. And then I started casting and gathering all the crew. And as I said, there was, everybody was touched by this story and everybody was giving his best, so this movie can be made.
I can imagine. I was also curious about how you wrote the script, because I know it's based on real dialogues and her voice and the real phone calls. How much was, and I know also you put during the shooting the real voice of, you played the real voice of Hind, so you get the real emotion or reaction of the actors. I know that this must have reaction, improvisation. How much was fictionalized, improvised, and how much was like you wanted to keep exactly as a document? Where were the margin and how much space you gave to both while as a writer-director?
I was asking myself when I heard this recording, those 70 minutes, what is the the right form, the just form, the respectful form, and at the same time the impactful form to give to this voice. So I can tell it without being in some, and it's a very difficult equation, without being in something, bad taste or exploitative or. So I thought that the best perspective is the perspective of those who listened, because I listened to this voice and they were the first one who listened to. She was talking to them, and then I was thinking. I was talking a lot with them because I had the recording. Everything was in the recording. The killing of Layan, the 15-year-old cousin, all the conversation with Hind, and then the bombing of the ambulance. Those elements were in the recording, and I needed to know what happened around, in the offices, since I decided to tell this story from their point of view in the offices. And I like when the sound and the image don't say the same thing, they are complementary in a way, because in the sound you have images, you have him talking about the tank, and so it's already something very very powerful. So I talked a lot with the real Red Crescent employee, and through their testimony, I wrote the screenplay. And actually, I was obsessed by this idea of being authentic, being right, and what they told me when I wrote it. Like, they told me a lot of things, because in a day you have you have a lot of elements. But so I had to. There were like their testimony, the recording, but also the investigative work done by forensic architects and by Washington Post. They did a great piece about all the what kind of weapon through the sound, the satellite image, where the tank, from which angle they shot, all the proof of this war crime. So I was navigating around all those elements, and then I decided not to do a movie like a classical documentary with proof, and because I thought it was already done. Al Jazeera, they did a piece like this, but also I told myself, we are like done explaining, cinema can do something better, which is live the life of those people, which we call, this feeling, empathy, understanding in which condition they are working. So was the first thing I was thinking about. And then the second decision after the point of view or the perspective was, should I shoot the real character, or should I bring actor? So I talked a lot with them, and not all of them wanted to talk in front of camera. Mahdi, for example, when he say, if there is a new photo on this wall, I resign, he did it actually after Hind Rajab story, because for him, Yusuf Zainu and Ahmed Madoun, his colleague, the two paramedic, he sent them, He did everything, to protect them, but they were killed. So there was this sense of guilt. And I told myself, maybe it's better to bring actors and to shoot this movie in the present tense, when this girl was still alive, and to have this contract with the audience that those are actors. They are vessels for the real character. And as you can see in the movie, they stop at some point acting, and they are listening to the voice of the real character till the end, this final moment when the unthinkable happened, when they bombed the ambulance. They sent me this incredible, their colleague was filming them after they heard the bombing, like they were realizing is it a shot? Is it a bombing? Asking Hind, and I thought this moment we should go to something more archival and documentary. And from this moment, we see the car and the ambulance and everything.
It's actually one of the most powerful scenes in the film, like because on all the level. This felt like they kind of, beside the tragic moments, they were kind of also mise en scène between the real footage, suddenly we see them, and the mobile footage. And also there was like a relationship between the camera that what you're watching and the phone moving. Was it Sasha Hands moving the thing? It was Sasha Hands with the mobile, or someone else, the real actor?
Actually, who was
moving with the phone, because
the
there was
phone?
almost
No.
as a movement, a dance between them. And even I felt at one of the most powerful moments of sound design in the film, because it goes between the real sound and it's almost blending, like you don't know what's real and who's real, who's the actor voice and who's the real character voice in it.
No, it was actually Layla, the girl in the story doing social media, who was filming them. So this scene we rehearsed it because for me and for the actor also we needed at this point to pay homage to the real hero of this story. And to go, to have this transition to go to something more archival with the mother and the ambulance. So we did, and I had this idea to do it in one shot, like in real time as it was, in this moment, because they.
It shows a helplessness, it's elevated the tragic moment somehow.
Yeah.
It shows a helplessness that you're watching as you're not able to do and waiting for the answer, knowing the answer somehow.
Exactly.
So it was really powerful. That led me to the questions that during the film I was always asking myself, where is the mom? Why is she? And just by the end, you hold up her call until the end of the film, just before the bombing. And there is this very powerful moment when two mobiles speaking because they can't be in the space and the same place. So it's like, and then at the end you see her real footage as a documentary, as an interview, talking. And so about this decision, why you held her phone? You were concentrating focusing more on the call of center between the Red Crescent and you left the mom phone call just end. What was the dramatic, creative decision?
Yeah, this is a good question, because in the beginning you consider all the perspective before taking the decision. So I thought about the perspective of the mother, but I also thought that the conversation, because Hind was talking also to her mother when the phone cut with the Red Crescent people. The mother was talking to her, and the mother was talking to everybody. She was in a emotional and horrible situation. But I don't have the recording of those calls. And since I took the decision to start to make those recordings the backbone of the movie, there is also a very important moment that is that Nisreen and Hind mother talked about to the press. I don't have it in the recording. It's a moment just before Hind, the phone goes, without battery. Nisreen asked Hind if she have blood. She said, "I have blood in my mouth." So she told her, or her mother told her, I don't remember, how to say, wipe it, yeah. Wipe it with your blouse. And Hinch said, I don't want my mom to be obliged to wash it. We don't have a lot of water in Gaza. She didn't say this, but like for her mother, she don't want to make a... And this moment, is very beautiful, but I don't have it in the recording. It wasn't recorded, So yeah, since I took the decision to be very faithful to those recording as a backbone of the movie, I couldn't and I like being under constraint, because I'm coming from a very poor cinema. I'm used to documentary and even fiction are not well financed. So I'm used to constraint, and I discovered that constraint can be a great place for creativity. So I took the decision to be in one place, which is the offices, not to go out. This is the first constraint. And the other constraint is to be faithful to those recording. So then you try to work inside of those constraints and to make the best you can.
So all the recording we hear in the film are re-recording, just not only her voice, no?
Yes,
Oh, the
sure.
same, okay. I didn't
mean,
know. Okay.
you asked me about the actors.
No, all the voice call, the mom voice call, and all the conversation beside
I
the
mean,
actors.
all the answers to the phone call where you have a voice are the real answer. I needed the actor to learn the line word by word as it was said in reality in the recording. They were repeating actually. And since I needed to do this movie in the present tense right now, as if they were the Red Crescent employee hearing Hind voice for the first time, there was this paradox for actors. They have to learn word by word, and at the same time to have this genuine emotion. So what we did actually to have this equation is they learned the words said by the real character word by word. And then when we started shooting, it was the first time when I said action, they heard Hind voice on their earpiece. So they knew their lines, but their reaction were really genuine, like they weren't performing.
So how was it with Juan, the DOP? No, I know you did now recently a film with him. So this is the second film with him.
Yeah.
And I know it's challenging to shoot in one place. It's very challenging to have one place. If you can talk about like how did you, together plan the shooting and which camera, why you chose this lenses and yeah.
Juan, I called him for the other movie.
Yeah, I thought so when
Yeah.
I saw his name. I thought she must.
Because when you do an Arabic speaking movie with money from Europe, you need to spend the money in every country. You don't have the right to. So you have to work with technicians. So that's why I don't work always with the same people, which is a big frustration. But at some time you make a great encounter. So I needed a DOP from Germany because for this movie we had financement from Germany. The other movie I stopped to do Hind Rajab. He's Colombian actually, but he paid his tax in Germany. And we start talking about this movie. And then when I heard the voice of Hind Rajab, I disappeared completely, And at some point when I was working, he called me and he said, let's work a little bit. I told him I'm doing another movie. He said, what? What is the other movie? I said, and he told me I want to be in it. So we did this one, and then we shot the other one. Like it was. But to answer your question, Juan is a great DOP. He's wonderful. He can do so many different things, and from the beginning, I told him this movie, I know that I'll not direct the actor the classical way, You ask them to do this, I need this kind of emotion. Let's do another take and another take. Because the actor, as I said, they were hearing the voice of Hind Rajab for the first time on the set, which was a decision. So their emotion, they weren't performing actually. It was like a documentary. There was the condition of documentary. So we had this idea that it's not a movie about the beauty of images. We needed to be close to the faces, and he do great job with handheld camera. So mainly what we did is filming long takes with him, with the actor, and then I had those long takes in the editing where we cut it, like.
So you have different angle for the same take, because I know your work with fiction was that's why when I watched it I was like thinking like your work in fiction was always meticulous movement camera. It was like with
Not in this
sensation.
one.
And not in this
Not
one.
in
It was
this
more
one.
free and freestyle, leaving more space for the camera and the actors. So yeah, while it's the one place actually allow you to do this more, the things that you usually do, you went something different.
No, I mean one place, and I was looking for a set that looks like the offices of the Red Crescent, which is an open space, and I was amazed by the fact that Omar, the real Omar, told me it's an open space. Even when you cry, everybody see you. There is something about the transparency, of the set, and I am this kind of director who love, as you said, framing and. But in this movie, it felt not right, to do composition, and there was something about the emergency, and we were all of us so emotional. I mean, talking about Juan Sarmiento, my GP, before we started, we were talking with the actor, and he said, thanks God, I don't understand Arabic. I'll not be affected, by the voice of this little girl. And I remember when he started shooting, like I said, cut, and he went on his knees. He was crying. He couldn't stop, So we were in this situation, like, and it wasn't right, to do composition and to do traveling and to think about all these things. Everything was rough and emotional.
I understand it. Yeah, you get me emotional, so me too now. So yeah, I wanted to ask you about that's when you get emotional with with the question. I want to ask you, let's go to Arabic since we talk about Arabic. I love the fact that beside I and the Stupid Boy was in French, and the man was
Salty Skin.
Skin, yeah. I know the titles in Arabic more than English, so it has a little bit of English. But most of your films are in Arabic language, while you are based in France and finance based. And I know that's always an incentive to have more money once your language is film language in French. The same things I have, as a film director who writes in Arabic and do film. So, but you kept doing in Arabic language. I don't know if your next film also is Arabic. Tell me about this. How about this? Difficulties, the struggle to get financing. Asking you condition like. Not only the team should have certain nationalities, the language.
I love to suffer, in the process. No, when I did The Man Who Sold His Skin, actually, and it was nominated for an Oscar, I had a lot of meeting with the producer from Hollywood telling me, what is your next? And my next was For Daughter, actually. So I tell them it's a documentary set in Tunisia, and you can see the deception in their faces. Like, what? You can do whatever you want. You are Oscar nominated. Because I started this project before The Man Who Sold His Skin. Anyway, and I did Four Daughters, and the adventure was incredible. And then I did the Voice of Hind Rajab, and actually I shot the other movie just after the premiere of. We had to shoot it, otherwise we lose the money. And it's set in Tunisia, and it's in Arabic. So to answer you, I think that there are so great filmmakers doing English-speaking movies, and I think that our region, we have a lot of stories that need to be told. We need to have every perspective in the world, So it's the easiest thing is to do an English-speaking movie with stars, I think it's something I can do it like this. I don't have the story. But I think that it's important to bring stories, unheard stories, to give voice to the voiceless also. I mean, Hind Rajab, she had a voice, but nobody wanted to listen, And in Four Daughters, it's a movie about those girls who join ISIS. So it's not a voice we want to hear. And for me, it's cinema. It's a great tool, and we need to use it. At least for me, to tell. I can't do a movie, for example, where I'm not passionate about. I'm not looking for something, because it's so difficult to do a movie that I
It is,
need.
yeah.
Yeah, I need to be passionate about it. If you bring me a book that I don't like, and I'll and what we call this EP, like an IP. No, what's
Yeah, I don't like those names.
Yeah.
Me too. Like, I don't feel like they're
Anyway,
personal.
so yeah, I need to be passionate
So
about.
you're not directing other people's scripts and books. So you will continue writing your
It's
own
too long
stories and
to
your
do a
own.
movie.
Yeah.
Take you 3 years from your life. So if it's not something important, why?
Yeah,
Like.
it's especially a story from our regions. That's why I was asking you about how difficult it is and how financing-wise it's difficult it is to make this, our movie. So now you're making your next film, no? What's about and
This is the film I stopped to do, The
yeah,
Voice of.
you're in post-production, I think. Well, congratulations for this. Not easy.
Yeah, I'm not on post-production since I'm here.
Okay, but it's
I can't edit because editing is complicated for me while touring.
it's not easy. I
no,
was
it's
thinking how you're doing it.
no, it's a wrap. It's in a hard drive somewhere, waiting for me. It's a movie set in Tunisia in two time periods, in the 90s and the 40s. And actually, you have in the 90s a village where you have a cult of a saint, and this girl who believes in this saint, and she wants everybody to believe in her saint because she's living in this place. She started to do investigation about this saint, and she discovered that her grandma in the 40s had a love affair, and to hide it, she told the story to the whole village, a very beautiful story. And the people started to think that this guy, her lover, is a saint, So it's a movie about how people don't like facts. They love beautiful stories because we are wired to love stories. And through those women's 3 generation of women, we see how beliefs are don't need proof. They are just beliefs.
Maybe we go back and end with the film now, the film. And I think one of the most important questions of your film, I think personally, I think each one has his own question from your film, is what do you do? When you listen, like, can you do something? Are we really, is the world really listening? So I know that you were just screening your films at House of Commons, no? And last week you screened, or a couple of weeks ago, in headquarters of UN. So those screenings are different than screening here for director when talk about the craft and filmmaking, or the audience when you talk about the cause, the Palestinian cause. In those places, did you feel like the screening changed something? Generally we say as a filmmaker, our film don't change the world. They ask questions, they try. But in this case, with this voice, with this film, I know that you're trying to push things. Those screening, did change something come out from it?
I don't know if it will change something, but we are doing them because I think it's important. And as I said, this movie, I wanted to be also a call for action. Unfortunately, we filmmaker, we don't make decision. We make decision about our movies, but political decision. So we needed to show this movie in all those places, and actually we'll show it tomorrow in the European Parliament. And but what I noticed that a lot of people told me this movie changed me, which is a great thing to say, director. But if I put my ego aside, I know that for a lot of people, it's difficult to go to watch this movie, to make the step. Like, I can't handle it. It's very hard, and which is understandable. But at the same time, I always tell them, it's not your life. Thanks God, it's not your life. I think it's important to bear witness. And if it's too hard, do something about it. It's better than avoiding, or so.
I think, yes, one of the most important things happening with your film is this is a very tough story, traumatizing to hear a real girl voice asking for help. And it was heard in a lot of cinemas. A lot of people came out, to the cinema. It was favorite audience and going full audiences, full screening everywhere you go. And this is very difficult to achieve. So this is,
Yeah, when I finished this movie, we finished the editing, because I know I'm doing Arabic speaking movie, as you said, it's with subtitles, so the market is not very welcoming.
Exactly.
You don't have stars and stuff like this. And especially for this movie, I was thinking how to make her voice echo outside of the niche, place that you are put in and you don't want to be in it, but we live in this world where we have dominant culture with Hollywood and the English-speaking movie, and we thought that maybe we'll need some stars, to protect the movie and to make the people who don't care outside of the niche thing hear about the movie and be, so mainly what we did from that moment till now with asking those people if they want to support, and we were lucky enough, every one of them, we were hoping for only for one name, Brad Pitt, Joaquin Phoenix, Alfonso Cuarón, Jonathan Glazer, all of them answered yes. They wanted to be supportive of the movie. Then we were premiered at Venice, and Venice was a great place, to have a spotlight. But still, people don't want to go to see the movie. Like we are having hard time. The movie is shortlisted for the Oscar, for example, and I've been doing what we call campaign. And when I talk with voters, they tell me, no, I don't want to watch it. I can't.
From the other side, as a voter, I know a lot of people watched your film and talked about it, and that was surprising for me because I know how difficult it is for the Arab subject and Palestinian subject to get.
Yeah.
And from the people I see here and the voter also and the normal audience watching the film, that's a real achievement to get it.
No,
there.
we've been lucky enough. You have like people who do the step talk about it because it's not, there is a difference between the apprehension and seeing it, witnessing it. When you witness it, you are in a way invested, so you talk about it. So you have like two position toward the movie.
Yeah, and now congratulations also, it's shortlisted for the BAFTA and not only the Oscar. And there's a director brand, so I invite you everyone to watch it.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for the film and the conversation, Kaouther.
This podcast was recorded at a Directors UK member event. You can hear plenty more directors in conversation by subscribing on the usual streaming platforms. Follow us on social media and find out more about us at directors.uk.com.